Welcome back to the Milwaukee Show, and today we are talking about my NHL mid-season predictions and awards. So, let's get into it. But first, you should subscribe because it's a new year, new you, and you didn't subscribe last year, so do it this year. Anyways, let's talk about the actual video. So, on my board here, I've decided to look at the current landscape of the NHL and decide, at this point, who are my award winners and just kind of my own, not awards, but whatever you want to call these kind of judgments, and just give them to each team, just take a look at this current season and move on from that. And then also my predictions for the President's Trophy and, of course, the best trophy in all of sports, Lord Stanley Cup, who I think will win it at this current point of the year. So let's get to the main point. So far this season, who has been the best team? And I've seen a lot of like Instagram posts, some like articles, all everyone's talking about this kind of stuff at this point in the year. And I've seen a lot of different people talking about who they think their best team is, and you could go based off of like the actual numbers and like the league and be like, oh yeah, obviously it's the Golden Knights, they lead in the standings. You could say it's the Winnipeg Jets, they've kind of been the most dominant all year round. But I was looking at it and just really the best team overall in every category of what makes a hockey team, whether that's actual on-ice production, off-ice production, just everything makes up a team. And I think overall, no other team in my eyes this season has done a better job than the Washington Capitals. I think from an on-ice perspective of the management of making this team go from someone that everyone thought would be like 1 point out of the playoffs to leading in second place, I think, currently, at the second place in the NHL. From a scouting perspective, they've got Mick Michael, Lapierre, they got so many young guns, Alexi Protas, right? From scouting and producing young talent, they've done that. The legends of Wilson and, of course, Carlson and Ovechkin, doing amazing. Strome, Logan Thompson brought onto the team, Pierre-Luc Dubois, every standpoint, they've done every single thing right. Where you could look at a team like Vegas, and they don't really have a lot of young guns coming up or anything. This is the team, and once they start to fiddle away, they'll be gone. So to me, the Capitals, from setting themselves up for the future when it comes to just everything in this season and maybe little off-season to the Capitals win. And I think they probably beat every other team out in those categories. Maybe not number one in everything, but overall, I would say they're the best. The worst team, you could go between a few teams, but I just think overall this season, it is the New York Rangers. This is a team that went from being tons of people's Stanley Cup pick to becoming a joke. A complete joke that is completely sold off of themselves, right? Everyone probably wants off of this team. The on-ice play is just so obvious that the team has given up. The coaching I guess the coaching, you don't really know if they've given up, but the management, it's the complete opposite of the Capitals. Everything is wrong with them. And that's it. I don't really need to explain any further, really. The New York Rangers are the worst team. You could go to the Predators and be like, well, all their moves and stuff, and now they're literally just the worst team. But no, the Rangers, when it comes to on and off ice, when it comes to management, fans, it is the Rangers every single time this season. So to me, New York is the worst. Washington is the best. Underrated team. This might sound stupid, but somehow, and I think it's every year that everyone kind of neglects the top team or a top team in the NHL. And to me, I think the Vegas Golden Knights, who are number one in the standings, but no one seems to care. Everyone, I'm seeing people putting them overrated. And I think it's the same people who didn't believe them when they won the Stanley Cup. And that was me. I was the fool that didn't believe they could win the Stanley Cup the year they won it. But I was foolish of them that year, and then I was fully on them for last year, but then they ran into the Dallas Stars, and I think that was one of those kind of whoever wins that goes to the Stanley Cup kind of thing. But I could talk forever about that. But I think the Vegas Golden Knights are so slept on. They are the best. They just have every category down when it comes to having such a strong offensive depth, and they have their shining star in Jack Eichel finally. Defensively, they probably have, and you know what? I'm just going to jump the fence a little bit here. I'm going to put Vegas as the best defense as well. Well, let's not jump the gun real quick on that one. But underrated. somehow Vegas, and the same thing went with Tampa Bay, same thing were the Florida Panthers, where it feels like these teams that win the Stanley Cup are just like are at the top of the league. Everyone is just kind of like, don't worry about them. Let's move past them. Let's talk about the Canadians and the Maple Leafs and the Bruins and the Rangers, right? Now, everyone doesn't care about them and sweeps them on the rug. So to me, Vegas, from every single position, like they might not be the best at one single thing, but once again, with like kind of like the Capitals, but underrated wise, it is the Golden Knights. Overrated in my eyes is, of course, the Edmonton Oilers. Oilers, once again, you just look up hockey and you click on the news or you just go on Instagram, anything, you go on hockey, TikTok, you go on YouTube. Everyone just is so committed to try to make you believe that the Edmonton Oilers are the best team in the NHL, and they just are not. They're good. They are amazing, right? But they are just way over it. Everyone tries to figure out a way to claim that this is the team that is. It's kind of like around like election season, right? This is why that guy's won. This is why they've won. It's because of this, and the results are different than what you think they're going to be because they're lying to you. The Edmonton Oilers, Stuart Skinner is not the goalie. He sucks. I mean, like McDavid and Draisaitl, two of the best players of the world. McDavid is the best player in the world overall. I mean, maybe not every single season at the current single moment, but McDavid, Draisaitl, unreal. Bouchard is having a suck-ass season. Somehow everyone still believes, is trying to rant about him. Like, they try to make you think their defense is the best thing in the world. Their offense is way overloaded with guys that don't play good defense. And you can come at me all you want. You can comment whatever you want. I disagree with you on everything. Oilers, completely overrated, and I don't understand why they are. Offensively, who is the best team on offense this season is an interesting question, because I could go to the Washington Capitals, because that is the huge point of them, between Ovechkin and McMichael and Protas. Like, they've got and Chychrun on the back end, and it's like their offense is so good, and I really, really, really want to put them up there. And honestly, I think I'm going to. I've been debating this one a lot between defense and offense, like who I would want to put on there. And to me, the Capitals, they have to win that category. When it comes to defense on the back end to the front end, all those just emerging talents of McMichael and Protas, and it's just everyone is jumping in on the scoring. It feels like you watch their games, they just suffocate the other team. And they're just so potent, whether it's Ovechkin on the power play or just his release to guys like McMichael who just find a good way to score. And same thing kind of with Protas, where it's just like they've got multiple guys that can score on the ice that they can throw out there, and they're on the ice the majority of the game. It just feels so exciting to watch, and everyone's chipping in. And of course you go to a team like Winnipeg, but Winnipeg to me is missing a little bit of an edge to them, right? And it's just, to me, Washington has been so dominant in the way they play, and I would like to give Winnipeg actually the defense award. I think defensively, which kind of just includes goaltending, they are the hardest team to score on. They're just so good at shutting them down, which is one thing that's going to hold them back later in a category. But when it comes to their stingy defense and Connor Hellebuck to clean up every single mess after them, they are just the best. If these two teams could, one gets their offense, the other one gets their defense and goaltending, that would be the best. The Washington Jets would be the best team in the NHL ever. That's not true, but that's what I'm going to say. Anyways, moving on. Who do I think is going to have a big comeback in the second half of the season? A big comeback to me I was taking this two ways. Either a team that's kind of out of the playoffs, coming back in, or a team that's kind of has been cold and is going to just march back into it. And I think the big comeback kids of the second half are going to be the Colorado Avalanche, who I don't have their sticker right now, so I'm just going to draw their logo. It looks like this. There. Avalanche. I think with Mackenzie Blackwood back there saving some of their problems, it's a certain dynamic like that, where they've eliminated just the black hole that was Georgiev, and now they've got a guy that can actually just play a good game is going to sweep up so many more of those points that they were missing out on in the first half. And they already have been, right? They're 8-1-1 in their last 10 games. I think Mackenzie Blackwood's 9-1 or something ridiculous like that. With the team so far, they have found their guy that even if this doesn't last forever, right? Even if it doesn't last forever, that he's going to have a 926 save percentage or something, that he's going to be saving those games of just a few of the more of those goals that Georgiev was coughing up multiple of every single game. And to me, they're going to go from I think they're 25-15 right now, something like that. I think they're going to, that's their first half. The second half, I think they'll steal a few more of those games, like those five extra that they lost from close games in the past, and make that 30-10. And I think that's going to be a big comeback for them, and I just don't really see any, teams out of the playoffs really making that giant leap of a comeback into the playoffs, kind of like people cheering for Montreal. I think they could do it, but I don't think it's going to be as great as the Avalanche just taking back the Central Division. And then the decline, I am so against the Boston Bruins. I don't know how they've made it to the point they are, being third in the Atlantic. Seems ridiculous to me. They are a slow team. They are a team that I just don't get it. I don't know how they've somehow made it into that spot. They are I don't know. Everything seems wrong about this team, and yet somehow they're third in the Atlantic. I don't get it. I watch them play games. Personally, for me, I don't see anything that's remarkable about the Bruins. To me, there's lots of teams like the Canadiens and the Red Wings and the Lightning who have been in their little bit of a bad spell that are all ready to, and the Senators all have more competitive second halves and knock the Bruins out of the playoffs. Now let's go to the individual awards for the players. We're going to just go through this one pretty quick. So for the Hart, lots of debate over the Hart, right? Because the Hart Trophy, if you didn't know, is the actual title of the winner is the most valuable player to their team, right? It is not of the league. It's not the best player in the league. It is the most valuable player, which, usually it is the league. But, the way I see it is if they rip that person away, their team completely goes under, right? And last year was Nathan MacKinnon, which I sort of agree with, and he definitely was the best player in the NHL. But if you remove MacKinnon, you still have Makar and Rantanen and a pretty fine team that would still be, I would say, a playoff contender or a playoff, getting in type team. To me, if you remove... I believe if you remove this man that I'm writing down so you can't see, if you remove him from this team, it is a complete 180. I think Kirill Kaprizov, in my horrible font here, is the Hart Trophy this year. He has come into his own of being an NHL superstar. I think MacKinnon this year, especially this season, with how Rantanen is performing and how Makar is performing, the whole team along with Blackwood, I don't think it is the MacKinnon show. I don't, and you could say the same thing about Quinn Hughes, that if you remove him, that the Canucks completely go under. But I just don't think Quinn has, for a defenseman, he's got to have that whole defensive edge to him. Not to say he isn't good defensively, but he just, to me, Kaprizov is the Wild. He is the Wild. He is what breathed life into the Wild. I don't think it is a complete team effort. I think he is what is this shining gem that makes this a team that is worth watching and is worth getting into the playoffs and having a competent chance. Also, to bring this franchise into true relevance. To me, Kaprizov, this has been his year. When he's on the ice, he's dominating it. He does what Kucherov does, it feels like, but just a little bit more of a playmaker, all-around kind of game than Kucherov does. So to me, Draisaitl's amazing, but he also has McDavid there, right? And I know they don't always play, one-on-one. They don't always play on the same line with each other, but to me, Kaprizov is the guy that is lifting his team up to be so good, right? And to me, that's for me. The Norris, number one defenseman, best defenseman in the NHL this year. I think everyone thinks it's Quinn Hughes. Cale Makar is a big name for himself as well. But honestly, for me, my Norris pick this year, I am going to go with Cale Makar. I think Cale Makar gets his second Norris. Quinn Hughes, to me, had his ginormous season last year, but this is just not the same year. I think Cale Makar I think he's 10th in points, which I guess maybe Quinn's above him. Maybe I'm just being an idiot about that. But to me, Makar has done so much more on I would say a team that depends on him more than Hughes does, which I know Hughes is gone. The whole Canucks, they lost so many games or something like that over December, but to me, Makar beats him out this season. I think Makar is putting in more work. I think he plays a better overall game. I think he has less. Well, I know saying less support is a bit ridiculous, but I just think it's Makar. Especially by the end of this season, I'm going to say it's Cale Makar. The Vezina Trophy, number one goaltender. I just really think it's hard to beat him out. I just don't think anyone really has had that much greater of a season than him to take it. Connor Hellebuck wins it again. I just don't think he could lose it this year. He has been the most dominant goalie. I can't think of another goalie that would beat him out other than... No, it's Connor. Next, Calder. The Calder Trophy, the Rookie of the Year. I'm going to say it. I believe it should be Macklin Celebrini. He has been the best rookie. He missed out a few games, and he's 2 points behind Hudson, 1 behind Michkov. And I think it's this overall game. Hudson is a real bad guy on defense. Celebrini is a two-way centerman that is a true centerpiece. Michkov is way more offense as well. I think when it comes to being a true NHLer, I think Celebrini is more worth it. I think he probably has a higher ceiling. He is more a competitive level and definitely has less help. And he is still running the show. Celebrini every day. Selke easily is going to be Sam Reinhart. It's just the obvious pick once again. I think the Calder, Vezina, Selke, pretty obvious. The Rocket, I think this is going to be the year Leon wins it again. The Ross, leader in points, I'm going to say it. I think McKinnon's going to do it again, where I think McKinnon last year, he didn't finish most in points, but he won the trophy. This is going to be the year where he wins in points but doesn't win the heart. Adams, best coach to me, it has to be Cardberry. I don't care what anyone else thinks. Spencer Cardberry has brought the Capitals. I mean, maybe it's not his complete fault, but the Capitals organization, they're so good offensively. They play good defensive games. They clean up. They don't really have that many glaring issues on the ice. And to me, to bring that team together with so many moving pieces in together and make them a functioning team that's amazing, Cardberry gets it. And for the GM of the Year award, I think overall, like I said about the best team, I think it has to go. Well, it depends on who you think deserves to win it, because it technically was McClellan who made the Capitals, but depending on how you see it, whoever they give it to for the Washington organization. The Capitals, they made this team. This has been the best managed team, best coached team to me. It's the Capitals. Won all those trophies. President's Trophy this season, I really think it's going to be the Winnipeg Jets. I think the Jets had their strong start. They've cooled off a little bit, and then they're going to finish strong again. Where teams like Vegas kind of had to start slow, a little slow, really heated up, and now they're going to slow down. I think the Jets started strong, gave themselves that little break, finished strong again. And for Lord Stanley Cup, I think this is the trophy that Florida wins. I think Florida has an easy... I think the reason why a team like Vegas and Dallas are really hurt is when they play up against those strong teams. I think last year Dallas or Vegas could have easily been a Stanley Cup finalist, but they played each other in the first round, so one of them had to lose. Then they would have to play against the Avalanche, which is such a tough series, and then the Oilers. The Dallas Stars, they played so many tough teams, just couldn't get to the finish line. I think the Panthers, they play against a team like the Bruins or like the Lightning or someone in the first round. It's a pretty easy win. Second round playing against like the Maple Leafs, easy win. So they get two first goodbye rounds. The Eastern Conference Finals, I don't know who takes the Metro this year, but regardless of who it is, I think the Panthers have a good fight in them to win that one. And then for the finals, I think it's the Panthers. I don't think if they make it to the finals again, they find a way to lose. I think they win every single time. So to me, Panthers win it, and that is my mid-season predictions and awards. So that is all I've got to say. Tell me what you think down below, and until next time, I hope you have an amazing day. Remember to subscribe. Too sweet, and have a great day. Ta-ta for now.